Important news first, probably next week sometime I will be uploading something at the Explain.org site called Stewart Island Sci-Fi or something like that. Do not download that file. I repeat, do not download Stewart Island from the org when I do post it there. Now, on the same day when I post that, I will also upload a video and put a sci-fi scenery in the mega folder in the reunion section. Get that instead of Stewart Island, as the reunion one will be basically the same thing, but also bigger, better. It's got more stuff in it than Stewart Island, so yeah, that's the one to go for. So when you see the video or the Stewart Island post, yeah, ignore Stewart Island and get the reunion version from the mega folder instead. Now, short story for the reason is that I made this fantasy airport on reunion, but because of auto restrictions I found out that I can't upload that at the Explain.org site. Their rules, that's fine. So I moved everything to Stewart Island in New Zealand where I can upload it. However, I thought it looked a lot better on reunion, so I've made a copy back there again. Plus, since then I've also added more stuff to it, so the reunion one is much better, and I will continue to develop that as well and do more things there. Now, I know some people never read stuff, don't watch videos, so they will never ever find out about this reunion one. So that's why I will post the Stewart Island version at the org site, but the reunion one is the version to go for, as that's a similar thing with all the same stuff, but it's a much better scenery with more things added, and I already have plans to expand it further. Stewart Island, that's dead. I'll never update that one ever again. So just giving people advance warning. Though nothing has been uploaded yet, it will be a week, maybe two, but at least I'm making people aware so you can see all the items and everything at the better version of the scenery first, which is reunion, rather than downloading Stewart Island and ruining all the surprises at the worst version of the scenery. So with that out of the way, welcome to another experiment. Yeah, last time out in my previous video, I was wondering what would happen if I let this AeroWorks DC-3 try and land itself. Now, we have an autopilot with an approach function, which will therefore follow an ILS and take us down towards the runway. But I was wondering what happens if I just leave that on and let the autopilot fly us into the ground. There's no actual Autoland function, so this will be doing something that the autopilot is not designed to do. But what I was thinking is, rather than a 737 for instance, where it might hit nose first, on this aircraft we have the main landing gear at the front. Now, I won't touch the control surfaces myself and leave that to Mr. Autopilot to deal with, but I do have the throttle so I can adjust the speed. So what I was thinking was maybe if I could give us a little extra power just before touchdown, perhaps that could slow down the rate of descent enough to give us a relatively smooth landing. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, theory and practice can be very different things though, so yeah, God knows what will actually happen. Strap yourselves in, this could get interesting. It is my first attempt at this, by the way, so no idea what will happen when we get close. Now, will the autopilot be all over the place in the last few feet? Will it turn itself off? You have no idea. And now this is Wellington NZWN, by the way, just in case you didn't recognise it. Strangely, one of my most notable memories I have of my visits to Wellington is a kind of fast food sort of restaurant where I had an absolutely massive kebab. Nothing too special or different, it was a kebab, it tasted like a kebab, and I enjoyed it. But the size of the thing, jeez, compared to my local place where I live here, I'd need to order 2 of them to match what I got in Wellington. Did manage to finish it, but I certainly didn't want anything else after that. Anyway, let's see if we can survive the landing, which is what we're here for, isn't it? Yeah, seem to be doing okay so far anyway. Yep, all stabilised, looking like a normal approach so far. Autopilot's doing its job. Crosshairs on the dial, they're nicely centred, so that's alright. Thinking when we get closer and closer, the glide slope may be the biggest issue. May have to add or reduce some throttle to try and stop the plane chasing that too much, but we'll see. It's doing okay so far. This is now close enough where it's probably going to go wrong now if it's going to. Yeah, glide slope is a little bit nosedive. Power. Okay, glide slope has now completely gone, and okay, that didn't feel too bad actually. Oops, my head's in the chair. Take control of the rudders, leaving the yoke alone at the moment. Okay, yeah. Bit overzealous braking. Yeah, but we're down. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it, really? Yeah, I mean, normally after landing during the rollout as we're slowing down, I would be pulling back on the yoke to hold the rear of the aircraft down on the floor. So you don't get the rocking forward sensation as you apply the brakes. Like that. Yeah, I've done that in tail draggers where I nosedive over during braking, and my 3-point landing is then the wheels and the front of the aircraft scraping along the runway. Not the best way to land. Yeah, so perhaps not the most elegant slowing down I've ever done, but we survived. Yeah, and the touchdown wasn't too bad actually. Yeah, last few seconds the glide slope needle was moving, and I think the plane was trying to chase that. Probably the last autopilot input before the glide slope disappeared was a bit of a dive. So adding some power helped a little bit with that. And even though it wasn't totally smooth, it was a reasonable rate of descent when we landed. Yeah, I've had worse than that when I've been flying myself. Yeah, I think we can call that a successful experiment. Probably never do it again, but glad we did it once at least. And now we know what does happen if you Autoland a DC3 that doesn't have Autoland. Yes, let's park up, and now I mentioned it earlier and I've put that in my head. I must admit I quite fancy a kebab. Might have one of those later. Okay, anyway, that will do. Experiment over. I'll see you again soon. Bye.